Happy Sunday. Let's find a nice comfy seat. I'm gonna kick off some shoes. This is gonna be maybe a little bit abbreviated. I'm trying to figure out some things without some internet. But we will land here, let our body just absorb the seat and feel the fluidity or the lack of fluidity in our respiration cycles. And let's just maybe let the eyes close. We can give ourselves about 30 more seconds here. And when it feels appropriate, the eyes open if they are closed. Let's maintain our seat and let's extend a left leg out in front of us. I don't know if this is gonna mirror or not. It's probably not gonna mirror, so you might be looking at me backwards, but we'll take the right foot to the inner edge of the left thigh. And so we create kind of a figure four shape. And then let's just tilt our torso and follow that down the left leg. I think we're gonna get to experience a Volcan Panama rainstorm here. So we have that to look forward to. So there's this farmer who operates a peach orchard in Palisade, Colorado. And this farmer has this particular affinity for this particular peach tree. This peach tree that has been in this farmer's orchard for over 20 years. 20 years in an orchard for peach trees is generally about 2 times the expected length of a peach tree lifespan in an orchard. Peach trees can live much longer, but their optimal producing time ends roughly about 10 years. So the orchards will just come in and they'll chop them down and they'll plant new trees roughly every 10 years. And so the fact that this tree has been producing so abundantly and of such quality for 20 years is remarkable. When it feels appropriate for you, let's bring ourselves back up into a modified staff and we'll switch legs position. So right leg's gonna extend out in front of us, left leg is going to bend. I'm gonna let that left leg fall out. Again, I don't think my camera's gonna be mirroring, so I'm gonna be opposite of you. And then we'll just turn and we'll extend down the right leg. I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you have really good detail here, there's a line of leafcutter ants behind me. So you may see some leaves going by. Just really allowing the body to experience breath once again. Noticing if you're able to be at ease, particularly in forward folds. Or if you're not feeling at ease, if there are tweaks and adjustments you can make so that you will be more able to experience easefulness, whether or not that's a word. We'll give ourselves about 15 more seconds here. And when it feels appropriate for you, we'll bring ourselves back up into a seat. Let's bring both of the feet together here. And we'll let the hands either clasp over the toe mounds or the ankles, whatever feels best, and just find our way into a little seated forward fold. This is a different challenge, completely different challenge. This is a lumbar and hip hinge challenge. We take out the hamstring, very minimal lower posterior chain activation. And for many of us, probably more challenging than a traditional forward fold. But if you have really tight hamstrings and maybe some freedom in the lumbar, this may be an easier forward fold for you. And we'll give ourselves just 30 more seconds here. Just feeling how the body is hinging forward, how the respiration is impacting us. When it feels appropriate for you, let's bring ourselves back up into a seat. We're gonna take our right leg and try to lay that as flat as we can. So that may require a little bit of reorientation. That may mean that the heel is better suited being closer to you, or it may mean that the heel is better suited being further away from the sacrum. But we're gonna land that right leg as flat as possible. And we're gonna try to take our left leg across the right here so that we end up with some stacked legs for a little fire log. So one of the more challenging shapes for me. So you can see that I don't have a perfect stacking here. If you have the capacity and you want to place that left foot on your right thigh, you're welcome to do so. And that will place kind of the right foot underneath the left thigh. But we're just looking for a little leg stack here. And then we're going to try to get our spine vertical. So you can use the knees or the ankle as kind of a grip that just allows for an elevation and extension of the spinal column. And then maybe we let the eyes close again. We settle in here. This is really trying to put some work on our hips. One particular season, again, this is like 20 years into this orchard, or this particular tree in this orchard's lifespan. This tree is produced through the summer, and we're into like early autumnish, kind of late in the peach season. But the peaches coming off of this tree are so perfect that the farmer operating this farm is like going out daily and picking for himself off of this one particular tree. The rest of the orchard goes wherever, but this one particular tree is so beloved and producing such quality fruit this season that as winter is autumn, as the winter cold is starting to encroach on the autumn days, the farmer's becoming really emotional about this experience. He doesn't want this tree to go into dormancy. And one night, the weather shifts enough that the leaves start to curl and crisp on the edges. And he's drawn to do something that he's never thought of doing before. Remember, we're just trying to keep the spine aligned and as vertical as we can comfortably get it. And feel into our body's capacity to just breathe and be at ease, even if this leg stack isn't particularly comfortable for our hips, and for many of us is probably not going to be the most comfortable shape we've been in. But the goal here is to get ourselves into a place where we can open up the hips through a little bit of temporary discomfort. Maybe that's not the goal. The goal is to find ease, right? But there may be some temporary discomfort that opens a window into some ease in the future. We'll give ourselves 30 more seconds here on this first side. One more big, full inhale. Try to feel the spine elongate towards the ceiling or sky. And as you exhale, try to maintain that length. And then let's switch our leg positioning. Hopefully you have a little bit softer cushion than I do on this concrete. And the right leg will stack on top of the left. Again, and potentially there's a whole new series of sensations here as we stack the opposite hip, or we put the challenge on the opposite hip here. So if this feels remarkably different than the previous version, no worries. Let's just do our best to settle in. Remember, you can use the knees or the ankle to help elongate the spine. And we're just finding our way towards a more easeful experience. Just feeling our way into how our body is breathing here, how our body is softening here or fighting against the shape here, what we can do to be more actively at ease. Remember that we're working on getting the spine vertical. We're trying to land in this seat in a way in which even with the hips under load, under pressure, under tension, we're able to get vertical. And through that, we're still able to breathe and be easy. Let's give ourselves 30 more seconds here on the second side. And when it feels appropriate for you, big full inhale, elongate and lengthen. Let's exhale, try to keep the space. We're going to extend both legs out in front of us. And we'll follow that into a forward fold. Big, full, deep breaths here. Try to allow that unwinding of the hips to give your body the capacity to move forward, to fold forward, to experience forward. And we'll give ourselves 30 more seconds here. One more big, full inhale, nice deep exhale. Let's find our way back into a seat and let's lower ourselves onto our backs. And as we come onto our backs here, just allow your body to be at ease. Feel how your respiration is allowing you to land here. Feel what's going on in the spine and the hips, depending on how you have your legs situated here. How the neutrality of the mat or floor beneath you is impacting the way your body is landing and feeling here. And then when it feels appropriate for you, let's bring our knees into a bent position if they're not already there. And we're going to take our left ankle across our right thigh. If you feel like you have the space, let's take our left hand to the left thigh and just continue to peel that hip open. And then let your right hand fall open to cactus or half cactus. And so this farmer, like I said, has this idea to do something that he's never done before. He's going to preserve this tree, and not preserve it in a way where it's like, oh, we're going to protect it and make sure it's safe for winter. He wants to keep the tree green. He wants to keep the fruit golden peach. And to do that, he's going to lacquer the tree. And so he buys this mass quantity of lacquer and all of these brushes in different sizes so he can get every crevice. And the goal is to make this tree, preserve this tree as it is, as winter comes. And so he starts by brushing this lacquer around the outside of the trunk and then up to the branches. And he's like mapping out this tree kind of from the base upwards and outwards. And he gets to every leaf and he's using these delicate brushes on the leaves so he doesn't dislodge them. And he's covering the fruit and the stems, and every piece, every bit of this tree is protected and preserved exactly as it is on this day. And sure enough, as winter always does, winter comes. Think about how the hip is feeling here. We'll give ourselves 30 more seconds here on this first side. It feels appropriate. When you feel ready, when you're ready to be grounded and level, let's bring the left foot down so that it mirrors the right. And just feel your sacrum as this bilateral symmetry comes back into the body. And then let the bottoms of both feet come together and the knees fall out wide.
And as you peel open here, allow both arms to head towards cactus. And just feel that bilateral release into openness. Just a nice big release into openness. Just at ease. We'll give ourselves 30 more seconds here. And when you feel ready, let's bring our knees back to neutral. And then we'll do the same thing to the second side. We're going to take our right ankle across our left thigh. And we'll let the right hand come to the inner medial edge of the thigh and just peel open. Left hand falls into cactus so that we can be at ease. And so when winter comes, all the other trees in the orchard drop their leaves and become barren. But this protected tree, this lacquered tree, does not suffer that fate. It is green and it is beautiful, and the peaches are golden and perfect. And the farmer just goes out and admires this tree, even in the bitter cold of winter, and thinks about how he did it, how he connected with his favorite tree in a way that allowed it to defeat the cold. And we'll give ourselves 30 seconds, 30 more seconds on the second side. And when it feels appropriate for you, let's let the right foot come back down and mirror the left, and we'll bring both arms out into cactus. Bottoms of the feet come together, and the knees fall out wide. And we just land here once again, allowing the bilateral expansion down the medial line of openness in both the shoulder girdle and the hip girdle. And it feels appropriate for you. Let's bring our knees back to neutral. And we'll pull the thighs in towards the torso and give ourselves a nice squeeze. Maybe take the knees out towards the armpits and try to feel the openness in the abductor region of the groin here as we continue to kind of expand our hip girdle. And then let's let our knees come back down to the mat. Arms can go back to cactus or T, and we'll start to add a little dynamic sway with the hips. Try to feel the range of motion that you have here. And the next time that the knees fall to the left, let's let them settle there. Just trying to release into the depth of your rotation as we exhale. And so the next spring, when the other trees in the orchard started to bud out, this tree was already perfect. And the only thing that the farmer did, he would go in and he would add another clear lacquer layer over the entirety of the tree so that it was just pristine and beautiful and perfect. We'll bring our knees back to neutral and let the knees fall over to the second side, the right side. And when it feels appropriate for you, let's bring our knees back to neutral. And just ask yourself if you need or want anything for Shavasana. If there's anything that your body would benefit from. Any adjustments, tweaks, or shifts, let's offer those now. If you're ready for some stillness, let's find a shape where we can deeply appreciate some stillness and settle in. And so each season, this farmer would go out into his orchard and he would paint this particular tree with a layer of lacquer. And for years and years and then decades, this tree stood the test of time. It was perfect. It was pristine. Everything about it was beautiful. Just finding that fluidity and ease in your breath that allows for stillness. And start to bring some movement into our fingers and our toes, into our wrists and our ankles, up into our elbows and our knees, our shoulders, our hips, all that space we created in our hips, our neck, our head, our jaw, our eyes, our tongue. Eventually, we'll allow our body to work its way back into a seat. And in the seated space, spine gets tall, breath gets fluid, eyes closed. One day, at the end of this farmer's time on earth, decided it was finally time to go appreciate the peaches that he saved on this tree. Goes out and he pulls a peach off this tree for the first time in decades. And he bites into it and it crumbles into this powdery dust.
And he realized instantaneously that he had not preserved this tree at all. He had suffocated it the moment he covered it in lacquer. With your next inhale, let's bring our hands together at heart center. Just feel the way your body is respirating here. Over the course of the next 7 days, can you remind yourself that when we are resistant to change, we are resistant to the nature of life itself, and see how that impacts your experience. Thank you so much for being a part of this morning's practice and for being you. Namaste. Happy Sunday from a beautiful, rainy Volcan, Panama. Love the heck out of you. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you soon.